Hi all, I wanted to touch base with you. This week you have a test due on Sunday in the project, and I wanted to go over the project just briefly to give you a few pointers on how to approach it. So let's start um, with how do you open it up. So here's the project, and this is the project itself. Okay, let's do that second. What you need to do is you're going to analyze some data on your own. And that means you need to open the database, and that's found in this link here. So click on that. And that's going to bring you to MyLab statistics here, and you just need to open up this question one. Okay, so here's a question. You don't need to answer this question. This is not going to be counted. Don't worry about it. You don't have to read this paragraph. The only thing you need to do is click on this data set, and that's going to load all the data into StatCrunch here, all right? So this is the data you're going to be analyzing in the project, okay? So let's go back to the project. I think I can exit that. Let's see here. All right, so going back to the project, let's open it up. Okay, so what you need to do is, this is instructions basically on what we just did. All right, click that link. And then this is where the project begins. So read these two paragraphs. Question one has to do with descriptive statistics. And that's what you've been studying in Module 2. You know, all the statistics. Remember what a statistic is. It's a calculation that represents a sample. And this data here, this is a sample data, right? So you're going, any number that represents a sample is a statistic, okay? So you want to list the descriptive statistics. And that doesn't mean just to calculate the mean and that's it, right? Remember all the statistics you learned in Chapter 2, in Module 2 was, you know, you did some graphing. You don't need to do any graphing on this question. But you looked at the mean, median, and mode, and standard deviation, for example. All those numbers are part of descriptive statistics, all right? So read this, and it says, write a statement to answer the question it asked you, listing the descriptive statistics that you find. So hopefully, this has to do with the average miles per gallon, right? This column here. So you need to analyze it using the tools that you learned along the way in Chapter 2, okay? So that's what question one is about. Question two has to do with outliers, all right? It's going to be the same data set. There's a procedure in Module 2, Lesson 5 that teaches you how to identify outliers in the data set. And this is on average MPG again. So you're going to have to look here and figure out how to distinguish the outliers in this column of data. And this is what you've been doing in 2.5, okay? So questions 3 and 4 are on types of data. Make sure, for some reason, this is difficult for some students. Look over Chapter 1 or Module 1 when we talk about qualitative and levels of measurement, okay? Again, you're going to look at this data, and there's vehicle number here. There's, type. What types of data do we have here? Is it qualitative? Is it just a label? Or, is it a label, or is there some actual calculation that we could make with, like, vehicle weight, for example? So make sure you review that. Remember, interval is typically years and temperature, right? So, look over that. Now, question 5 says build a histogram with vehicle weight, and there's another one that says construct a histogram of engine size. So you're going to have to remember how you use StatCrunch, and there's videos on this in your course about how to build a histogram, right? But you're going to be using, the engine size data in question 7, or the vehicle weight data, and then you look at the shape of the histogram and does it fit any of these, okay? So those 2 questions are about graphing a histogram. And then this is another outlier problem, right? The engine size data, use that same method. And then question 8 and 9 are about the empirical rule, which is 2.4, right? 2.4 is, how much of the data is between 1, 2, and 3 standard deviations. Make sure you study that, and then you're going to say, okay, here's a range of data. How many standard deviations is that from the mean, right? And then you'll know how much data is in there, and that's similar to this problem. And then 10 is a question about descriptive statistics. So anyway, let's see here. So anyway, that's the project. It's basically taking you a little bit outside of the homework assignments and saying, here's a data set. Do you know anything from chapter 2? Are you able to study a data set and kind of say something about it? And that's what this project is about. So I encourage you to get started, and if you have questions or something, just shoot me a note.